Imagine raising a child with your whole heart, sacrificing time, health, and every dollar to protect his future. Now imagine that same child looking you in the eye and saying, "We don't have space for you anymore." Not with anger. Not even with guilt. Just cold certainty. This is the story of Linda Carter, a woman who lost her husband, gave her son everything she had, and ended up homeless in the very house she helped buy. It's about love manipulated into silence, about how family can sometimes become the greatest source of betrayal. But it's also about awakening, dignity, and finding peace on your own terms when the people you raised decide you're no longer useful. It starts with a folded quilt, a framed photo, and a $180,000 check. And it ends with a woman standing barefoot on the shore, whispering 5 words into the waves, "No space here either. Goodbye." If you've ever been told you were too much or not enough, if you've ever stayed silent to keep the peace, if you've ever been erased by someone you raised, this story is for you. And if it stirs something in you, stay with me. Because what happens next will make you question everything we believe about family, loyalty, and what it means to truly matter. After losing her husband James, Linda Carter found herself standing at a life-altering crossroads. The grief was still raw, but she clung to purpose, her son, Josh. So when he and his new wife Megan were denied a full mortgage for a suburban home in Charlotte, Linda didn't hesitate. She handed over the entire $180,000 life insurance payout. Every cent. "This is your future," she said. "Our family's stability." Megan wrapped her in a tearful hug and said, "You'll always have a home with us." Josh kissed her cheek and promised she'd never lift a finger again. Linda believed them. She moved into the home with nothing but 2 suitcases, her quilt, and a framed photo of James. Her designated space? A small guest suite, twin bed, no closet, a half bath without a shower. But she was content. After months of loneliness, the sound of a bustling home, the aroma of shared meals, and morning coffee made by Josh felt like healing. But soon, cracks began to form. Subtle at first. Megan sighs when asked about the thermostat. Josh's groan when Linda asked to put up a shelf. Dinner invitations dwindled to one awkward meal. The upstairs fridge got a padlock. Her Netflix stopped working. One morning, Linda overheard Megan on a phone call. "She's sweet, but this isn't sustainable." And then came the gut punch. Josh's voice, low and calculated. "She won't leave if we keep being nice. We've got to push her out without a fight." Megan replied coldly, "She won't sign her share unless she feels unwanted. Make it uncomfortable. She'll leave herself." Linda stood frozen in the hallway, staring at the wallpaper she'd helped pick out just days earlier. Her only child, her entire world, was scheming to get rid of her like an unwanted houseguest. That night, she cooked Josh's favorite, chicken Alfredo. They didn't come to the table. Alone, she ate slowly, remembering every scraped knee, every birthday card she'd tucked into a shoebox she still carried. The next morning, Megan approached her with arms folded. "We think it's time you look for something more permanent. Just your own space, for your comfort." 4 hours. Josh added, sipping coffee like he was closing a business deal, "We don't have space for you anymore, Mom." Linda didn't cry. She didn't argue. She just said, "Okay," and left by nightfall. But what Josh didn't know was that Linda owned 49% of the house. And she was about to remind him. Linda moved into a modest extended stay motel. She booked the room a week earlier, not because she expected to be thrown out, but because something inside her whispered, "Be ready." She carried with her a red folder containing the deed to the house, her name next to Josh's. The next morning, her phone rang. "Ms. Carter?" The voice on the other end introduced himself as Brad from Carolina Private Lending. There was a problem. Josh had defaulted on a $95,000 business loan, using the house as collateral. Foreclosure proceedings would begin that Friday. Linda listened, calm and quiet. She asked for the paperwork. She signed it. She didn't call Josh. She didn't cry. She didn't warn them. By the time Josh got the foreclosure notice, the fuse had already burned halfway down. Josh and Megan's messages came fast. Did you cancel something? There's a notice on the door. Please, we're confused. But Linda stayed silent. She sat in her motel room with a cup of coffee and stared at the ceiling, not in satisfaction, but in stillness. They had chosen this. When Megan posted a panicked message in their neighborhood Facebook group claiming they were being scammed, Linda scrolled quietly, watching the sympathy pour in. The narrative had flipped. Megan painted herself and Josh as victims. She didn't mention the $180,000 Linda gave them. She didn't mention the loan Josh took without her knowledge. Or how they schemed to push her out of the house she helped buy. Then came the online posts. Josh shared an old photo of him and Linda eating ice cream when he was 5. It's hard when the people who raised you end up turning on you. The manipulation was clear and devastating. Linda thought about defending herself. But her father's voice echoed in her mind, don't fight people rolling in the mud. You'll only get dirty, and they'll enjoy it. So she waited. Then, a knock at her motel door. It was a woman named Doreen from the city housing board. I saw some posts, she said. I just wanted to hear your side. In the quiet motel lobby, Linda shared everything, dollars, deeds, and all the dinners that went cold. You're not the first, Doreen said, handing Linda her card. And you won't be the last. That evening, an email arrived. Charlotte local magazine wanted to interview Linda. She wasn't ready, not yet. But she saved the email with the subject, hold on to this. Meanwhile, Megan took her story to TikTok. In one clip, she stood beside a U-Haul with mascara running and a baby bump visible. The caption read, "Evicted by my mother-in-law." The video got 80,000 views. Offers for help, GoFundMe links, sympathy from strangers. Linda said nothing until the messages started coming in from church friends, cousins, and her late husband's sister. Linda, what's going on? Is any of this true? That was the breaking point. Linda pulled up the deed, the bank statement showing the transfer of $180,000, the email from Brad confirming foreclosure, and Megan's text scheming to convert Linda's room into a nursery. Then she sent it all, to the pastor, the cousins, the group chat. The silence that followed wasn't cold. It was confirmation. No one defended Megan. No one questioned Linda. Later that night, a message came from Josh. Please call me. Just talk to me. 10 minutes later, I know things got bad, but you're still my mom. She didn't reply. Not because she hated him, but because some bridges don't burn, they crumble. Piece by piece, every time someone you love decides you're disposable. She whispered into the silence, still your mom. But not your fool. And for the first time in months, she slept 8 full hours. It started with flowers. White lilies, Josh's old go-to apology gesture, left outside her motel door in a cheap vase. No card. Just a note, let's talk, please. Linda didn't bring them in. By morning, they had started to wilt. When the front desk asked if she wanted them tossed, she nodded. Yes. That afternoon, the knock came. Josh. No warning, no invitation. Just a tired face at her motel door. Mom, it's me. Can we talk? 5 minutes, she told him. That's all he'd get. They sat across from each other at the little round table by the window. Josh shifted in his seat, cycling through emotions like masks, regret, sadness, desperation. Then he spoke. I messed up. I know that. I should have told you about the loan. I shouldn't have let Megan talk to you like that. I panicked. She's pregnant. We were scared. Linda listened. Said nothing. Looked at the man who once wept when she left for night shifts. But that boy was gone. In his place stood someone who had erased her with clinical precision and painted her as a monster online. "I'm not here to argue," he added. "I just wondered if you'd be willing to sign a document, nothing big, just something to help us negotiate with the lender." That was when her gut screamed. She asked to see it. Josh hesitated, then slid a paper across the table. She read it twice. It wasn't a simple consent form, it was a partial power of attorney masked in legal jargon. It would grant him access to manage foreclosure proceedings, and possibly her accounts. "Get out," she said. Josh blinked. "Mom." "Out." He stood, desperate now. "We're going to lose the baby's future, Mom." "You already did." He left. No apology. No tears. Just another exit, another boundary crossed. Linda locked the door behind him and immediately asked the motel to move her to a new room, new hallway, new beginning. That night, she blocked Josh's number. Not out of spite. Out of survival. Because part of her still wanted to believe him, and that was dangerous. The next morning, she went to see Doreen at the housing board. "I want to move on," Linda said. "Not just from them. From all of it." Doreen didn't give platitudes. She slid over a folder marked Senior Housing, Coastal Options. On the first page, a 2-bedroom condo near Wilmington, ocean access, rent within her pension. Linda circled it. This one. That evening, one final message arrived, from Megan. Short. Raw. No emojis. "I don't know what we're supposed to do now. We have nothing. I know you hate me, but think of the baby." Linda stared at the screen. Then closed her laptop. Not yet, she thought. 3 days later, another knock. This time, Megan. Tired, tear-streaked, holding a baby girl wrapped in pink. "Her name's Emily," she said. "She's yours too. Don't shut us out." Linda let her in. Megan sat gently on the bed, bouncing the infant, voice trembling with practiced remorse. Josh was drowning. They were broke. Phones on borrowed time. $10,000 in penalties. Megan admitted she'd said cruel things. "We were scared. We didn't know what we were doing." Linda watched closely. And then she noticed it, the tag still hanging from Megan's designer diaper bag. Posh baby. Over $900. Not desperate. Not broken. Performed. "That's new," Linda said. Megan fumbled. "It was a gift. From a friend." Linda said nothing. Stood and walked to the window. Outside, a black SUV idled by the curb. Not cheap. Not accidental. "You came here to get something," she said. Megan flinched. "I came here to ask for help." "No. You came here to film something." Linda stepped forward. "Where is it? Your phone? Your purse?" "I saw it in the diaper bag." Megan's lips parted. Then closed. "We just wanted proof," she whispered. "In case you tried to twist things." "Get out." "Linda. Now. Take your staged baby bag with you." Megan didn't move. Linda stepped closer, face like steel. "I'm not your storyline. I'm not your villain. And I sure as hell am not your ATM, get out before I call the police." Megan left, silent and rigid, baby clutched tightly. Linda watched them drive away and knew the truth, they hadn't come to reconcile. They had come to harvest sympathy clicks. That night, Linda filed for a restraining order. Included every text, the attempted manipulation, and a printed screenshot of the diaper bag's retail price. "You're not the first," the court clerk said. "You won't be the last." The next day, Linda wrote in her notebook. "They brought a baby to play victim. I brought receipts." And she meant it. 2 days later, a thick envelope slid under Linda's motel room door. The restraining order had been approved. Court seal, official signatures, all of it. She didn't feel triumphant. She felt prepared. Like someone who had finally bolted the door and placed sandbags against a storm that had already come and gone. She made 5 copies. 1 for the motel. 1 for the police department. 1 for Doreen. 1 for herself. And 1 she mailed to Josh and Megan's last known address with a sticky note. "You wanted legal. You got it." That same night, Linda replied to the email from Charlotte local magazine. She didn't pitch a story. She didn't ask for payment. She simply sent them everything: the house deed, the wire transfer, foreclosure confirmation, screenshots of texts, including Megan's "Once she's gone, we can plan the nursery." Her email subject line was clear and simple. "Since they want to talk, let's talk." The editor called the next morning. "We believe you," she said. "Would you go on record?" "Yes," Linda replied. "As long as you include this at the top, this is not revenge. This is clarity." The piece ran the following Sunday. "When help becomes a weapon, one mother's account of financial betrayal." It didn't go viral. But in Charlotte, it rippled. The same Facebook group where Megan once cried eviction began debating ethics, inheritance, and adult entitlement. Linda's name came up. Not as a villain. Not even a victim. Just a woman who had been erased and quietly wrote herself back in. But the moment Linda truly felt the shift wasn't online. It was the following Friday, at a local coffee shop, where she saw Josh. He was alone, hoodie pulled low, staring into a coffee cup like it held all the answers. He didn't see her at first. Then their eyes met. He didn't smile. Didn't blink. Didn't wave. Just looked, with recognition, but no connection. Like passing a stranger who reminds you of someone you once loved. Linda kept walking. Her hands didn't tremble. Her throat didn't tighten. That evening, she received an email from him. No subject. Just 4 lines. "I read the article. I won't contact you again. I'm sorry you felt like you had no choice." Not sorry for what he did, sorry she felt like she had to act. She archived it. No reply. The next morning, the motel manager knocked and handed her a bundle of forwarded mail. At the bottom was a letter from a real estate agency and a handwritten note from Doreen. "You've been approved. Keys are waiting." It was the condo near Wilmington. 2-bedroom. Ocean breeze. Rent just within budget. Linda stood there, the letter shaking in her hands, not from fear, but relief. She wasn't looking over her shoulder anymore. Unknown numbers didn't scare her. Family didn't define her value. Later that week, she updated her will. Josh's name was gone. Instead, her estate would go to a domestic abuse shelter, a literacy program, and an animal rescue she once volunteered with. She instructed her lawyer to release all documentation publicly if Josh ever tried to contest it. The final text came on a quiet Sunday. "We lost everything. Congrats." From a number she didn't recognize but knew was Megan. Linda read it once. Deleted it. No reply. Not because she didn't care, but because she no longer carried their story. That week, she packed for the last time. Not in a rush. Not with sorrow. Just calm precision. The condo was smaller than expected, but brighter. Sunlight spread across white walls and warmed the floors. She stood in the doorway, soaking in the silence, no footsteps, no manipulation, no performance. Just space. Her space. She made tea with the old kettle and sat on her balcony. She couldn't see the ocean, but she could hear it. That was enough. Linda stopped checking social media. Didn't reach out to old friends. She simply unpacked, one drawer at a time. Filled the fridge with her favorite foods. Bought 2 plants from a roadside market. She enrolled in a community art class. Her instructor, Walter, wore suspenders and told awful jokes. On the second day, he remembered her name. "You paint like someone who survived something," he said. She smiled. "That's because I have." Then one day, a letter arrived, handwritten, no return address. Josh's messy scrawl. Just 4 lines. "I know I can't undo what I did. I don't expect anything from you. I just want you to know I'm trying. I named her Emily Linda Carter." She read it twice, folded it, and placed it next to the nounal deed. No tears. No joy. Just acceptance. That night, she walked to the beach. She stood barefoot in the sand, waves lapping at her toes, and whispered into the breeze. "That's not my burden anymore." Then she turned and walked home. The condo lights glowed warm and soft. She curled up on the couch with a book and a blanket. No drama. No family feuds. No performative apologies. Just peace. And when her phone buzzed with one final unknown number, she let it fade. 5 words echoed in her heart. No space here either. Goodbye. Linda's story is more than a cautionary tale. It's a quiet rebellion, a refusal to be erased by those she once called family. It's a reminder that silence can speak louder than rage, and dignity doesn't always come with applause. What would you do in her place? Would you have left the house? Fought back earlier? Given them a second chance? Have you or someone you know been through something similar? Maybe not foreclosure or betrayal, but that moment where family turns into strangers and love feels like a weapon. Tell us your thoughts. Share your stories. Let your voice be heard. Because stories like Linda's don't just disappear. They echo in every parent who's given too much. In every grandparent left behind. In every soul who finally chose peace over permission. And if this story spoke to you, stay a while. We have more. What story should we explore next? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. You never know whose silence is hiding a storm.